The current situation in Ukraine is presenting significant challenges for Russia. As we approach the 2-year mark of the conflict, it is astonishing to observe the severe economic difficulties Russia is currently facing. The situation in Russia is reaching a breaking point, and a potential social upheaval is looming. The assault on the Kursk region could very well be one of the catalysts, but other potential triggers must also be considered. The situation includes rising food prices, labor shortages, and a decline in energy dominance. Delays in salary payments, a problem reminiscent of the collapse of the Soviet Union, have returned. Russia and Putin are teetering on the brink of a significant escalation. The increase in corporate bankruptcies and the rising interest rates for Russians seeking private loans have dealt a heavy blow to the Russian economy. The outlook in Russia appears grim. Although the Ukrainian offensive in the Kursk region has grabbed headlines, the invasion represents a deeper and more significant impact. The latest intelligence data suggests that Russia is preparing for a difficult period ahead. Currently, Kursk stands as a testament to military retreat and incompetence, highlighting the critical failures that have led Russia into this self-inflicted battle. The Russian government had to mobilize and evacuate around 200,000 citizens from the Kursk region. Approximately 250,000 Russian evacuees left the Belgorod and Bryansk regions in light of the dangerous situation developing in the region. Reports indicate that roughly 400,000 Russians have relocated to safer interior territories of the Russian Federation. The approximately 800,000 Russian citizens who remain in the country face a tough situation. Russian border cities are being tested to their limits, standing firm against increasing psychological and financial pressures while facing the harsh realities of war. Russia, claiming strength, finds itself entrenched in a grinding war of attrition, facing significant devastation on multiple fronts. Entering the 3rd year of this swift operation, Moscow is left with the hope that Ukraine will become as fatigued as Russia. Putin has crafted a deceptive narrative justifying the conflict. The prospect of Ukraine joining NATO is perceived as a direct threat to the Russian population within its borders. Russia is locked in a demoralizing conflict with increasingly strained forces. The FSB has taken decisive action against high-ranking generals who are currently facing multiple criminal investigations. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Defense is being led by an economist with no military experience. His latest advice emphasized the importance of robotics and artificial intelligence. However, Russia has faced significant setbacks in manpower and engineering capabilities due to this conflict, leading to a critical loss of access to essential technology. The rising death toll, particularly in a country facing a severe demographic crisis, points to potential future challenges. Although the BRICS is expanding its membership, it falls short of being a true alternative to Western institutions and values. Putin missed the recent South African summit because local authorities would have been forced to arrest him under an ICC warrant for human rights violations, including the abduction of Ukrainian children. Russia is embroiled in a complex struggle against various internal and external factions, sometimes with symbolic victories and other times with unfortunate consequences. On the other hand, we have witnessed a spike in Russian gasoline prices following Ukraine's successful operation against a facility in Moscow. After the recent drone attack on a Moscow refinery and the incident at the Omsk plant, we are seeing a significant rise in gasoline prices across the Russian Federation. This situation is rapidly evolving, and it is crucial to stay informed about the implications for both the economy and the ongoing conflict. On September 4th, the price of regular 92 gasoline hit a milestone at the St. Petersburg International Trading Exchange, reaching 6,124 rubles per ton, the highest figure for September 2023. Throughout the day, the cost of this gasoline increased by 2%. Since the start of the week, it has fluctuated by 4.2%. We haven't seen such updates since July, and the pace of growth is impressive. Diesel fuel and Premium 95 are also putting pressure on consumers' wallets. In the case of diesel, the price rose by 1.1% to 71,992 rubles per ton, while Premium 95 increased by 0.8%, reaching 62,206 rubles per ton. Operators report that the main issues are related to a 92 gasoline, as the Moscow refinery is not currently exporting significant amounts. In Moscow, 1 out of every 3 liters of gasoline sold on the market comes from this refinery. It is a major operation, friends, and the corporation is also the primary supplier of kerosene for Moscow's airports. The refinery has shut down its Euro Plus integrated oil refining plant following a recent drone attack. This is a significant event that underscores the ongoing tensions in the region. Small wholesale sales were completely paralyzed as a direct consequence, while shipments for other wholesale batches also experienced significant delays. Additionally, The conflict is impacting various sectors of the Russian economy. Moscow is facing a critical labor crisis as young professionals flee the country or are dragged into the conflict. According to current estimates, the country is facing a shortage of nearly 5 million workers, which will result in a significant increase in wages. We are looking at a 7.4% rate, nearly double the 4% target of the central bank. This is a significant deviation that demands attention. Recent reports from the Russian central bank reveal a significant decline in direct investment, with a staggering drop of nearly $8.7 billion recorded in the first 3 quarters of 2023. This situation puts the Kremlin in a tough spot. Regardless of how events unfold in Ukraine, Russia is facing significant challenges in rebuilding and securing Ukraine, even in the event of victory. The financial burden and the consequences of being isolated from the global market are formidable obstacles that cannot be ignored. Moreover, analysts state that Western nations have avoided trading with Russia since the invasion of Ukraine in 2022, significantly hindering Russia's long-term economic growth. Russia's most viable strategy is to establish total dependence on China, one of its remaining strategic partners, as it remains isolated. On the other hand, Mr. Putin highlighted the challenges facing Russia, such as the collapse of infrastructure and rising social unrest, suggesting that the task of rebuilding his nation is already a monumental undertaking. The Russian government shows no signs of being willing to engage in negotiations about the economic situation or seek an end to the conflict. Therefore, it finds itself at a critical juncture where neither losing nor winning the war is an option. The economy is now fully focused on sustaining a prolonged and increasingly deadly conflict, unlike the periods following the collapse of the Soviet Union. The conclusion of this conflict will not lead to new efforts to integrate Russia into Western alliances. On the contrary, there will be a careful yet determined effort to hold Russia accountable for war crimes and human rights violations in Ukraine. Funds deposited in Western banks will not return to Russia but will be directed towards ongoing reconstruction efforts in Ukraine. Russia will become a no-go zone until every last one of those Western companies that Putin handed over to his inner circle is eliminated. They will no longer be able to boast about that emerging market label they flaunted in the 1990s. It's no surprise that the Russian population is experiencing the lowest levels of confidence we've ever seen. Putin's inner circle consists of family members and former bodyguards. Oligarchs appear marginalized when it comes to influencing government policy. Interestingly, even Russian media acknowledge a decline in Putin's popularity. Putin is assuming more responsibilities but is likely to face accusations of undermining Russia's position. Moreover, a London-based think tank claims that Russia's economic decline has only just begun. The debate about Russia's resilience often overlooks the severe failures of Moscow's financial structure. Ukraine is facing significant human resource losses as the conflict persists. A London-based research group has noted comments from several analysts suggesting that the Russian economy has managed to withstand sanctions imposed by Western nations and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. However, the research group stresses that now is not the right time to discuss Russia's economic resilience. They highlight fundamental issues plaguing the country's economy that are likely to persist. Russia's substantial military spending has played a vital role in propping up its current economic growth. However, a closer look at the Kremlin's finances reveals a much bleaker reality. At the same time, there are clear signs of a decline in Russian oil sales, one of its primary economic pillars. Russia's main oil product, Ural crude, is now trading significantly below the global average. The challenges facing the Russian economy are only intensifying. Rising inflation, a weakened ruble, and unprecedented labor shortages pointed out by economists are poised to challenge our future development and production. We must remain vigilant and adapt to these harsh conditions. It's clear that the Russian population is starting to feel the impact of Moscow's unstable financial situation. On the other hand, there are intense reactions to the conflict within Russia. Support for the withdrawal of troops from Ukraine among the Russian population is growing. Currently, nearly half of the Russian population, specifically 49% of respondents, favor pulling troops out of Ukraine, even if it means not achieving Moscow's military objectives. They also support the initiation of peace negotiations. Radio Svoboda reports that these results are backed by a survey conducted by the Chronicles Research Project in collaboration with the Extreme Scan Research Group. A third of the surveyed citizens of the aggressor nation opposed this decision. 6% of respondents support the idea of a peace treaty between Russia and Ukraine within the next year, emphasizing the need for mutual concessions. Support for the withdrawal of Russian troops and the establishment of a ceasefire before the war's goals are met has risen by 9% since February 2023. During that period, 40% of respondents expressed support for the initiative. 32% of respondents were willing to fight under the directives of the Ministry of Defense, while 30% expressed doubts about participating in military action. Nearly a third of those surveyed supported the initiation of a new round of mobilization. The survey was conducted via random telephone sampling from September 10th to 17th, involving 800 respondents over the age of 18. In the latest update, reports indicate that newly mobilized Russian troops have been deployed to the Kursk region. Reports suggest that the military personnel of a city's commissariat in the Samara region are operating from hidden locations to protect against potential sabotage as they prepare for troop deployments in response to the situation in Ukraine. Reports indicate that troops from Russia's Samara region have been mobilized and deployed to the front lines in the Kursk region. The team conducted a thorough investigation into the operations of the military commissariat in Sran, located in Russia's Samara region, and gathered information on the intensification of mobilization efforts. New recruits are being deployed to key positions along the front lines in the Kursk region, integrated into the ranks of the 5th Separate Motor Rifle Brigade. Several of them were transferred from the Pokrovsk sector. The report indicates that the military committee personnel operate from underground due to concerns about potential sabotage. The report reveals that all individuals directly responsible for deploying regular Russian troops to the front have been identified. In a significant move, Russia has begun evacuating villages in the Kursk region, located near the Ukrainian border. This information comes directly from the local governor, Alex Smirnov. The mandatory evacuation affects areas within a 15 kilometers, 10-mile radius of the border. Stay alert and follow guidelines for your safety. This decision comes after Moscow intensified actions to reclaim lost ground during Kiev's recent offensive operations. More than 150,000 people have evacuated the area since Ukraine launched its offensive on August 6. The operation successfully captured numerous villages and advanced into enemy territory. An analysis by the Kiev Post reveals that video footage indicates Ukrainian forces are operating at a level beyond mere raids, potentially demonstrating the strength of a brigade. Even with Ukraine's push toward Kursk, Russian troops are advancing in the east. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has acknowledged that the Eastern Front is facing significant challenges. While some of Ukraine's strategic moves have led to setbacks for Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin has made it clear that the capture of Donbass remains at the forefront of Russia's military objectives. In the Kursk region, reports indicate that Ukrainian airborne assault forces have successfully taken down a Russian paratrooper unit. On September 13th, Russia deployed 14 military units with tanks and amphibious assault vehicles. After several hours of intense combat, the attack was successfully repelled. The UK Ministry of Defense has confirmed that since mid-August, Russian forces have been actively involved in offensives in the Ukrainian region of Kursk, securing control over more than 800 square kilometers. Russian forces, supported by air and naval assets, have secured some villages, but their momentum has stalled in recent operations. On the Eastern Front, Russian forces are advancing toward Bulyar and the area southeast of Pokrovsk. However, British intelligence reports that no significant progress has been made in recent days. In the Kursk region, Ukrainian forces are attempting to break through a Russian stronghold near the Sime River. Up to 1,000 Russian soldiers could be trapped in that location. Recent information from social media indicates that Ukraine is tightening its control over crucial roads in the area, posing a significant threat to Russian supply lines. We thank you for your support and commitment to our mission.